Hi, everybody. Um, Everyone in the tarot community, in the world out there. I wanted to talk to you today about, firstly, about this book, which is Have Tarot Will Travel, a comprehensive guide to reading at festivals as a tarot professional by Jenna Matlin, and about my experience this summer, and it's ongoing now into the early fall of sort of following along the lines of doing reading at events, and sort of what my experience has been, what I found has worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, some of the interesting things I've come across. So I picked up this book. You can get this book also for your Kindle. I think that's kind of the main version if you go on to Amazon. I'm a hard copy. I'm old school. What can I say? Person. So I like having things in hand. And I mean, it's not a huge thick book, so it's very quick to get through. But I picked this up and I read this. When was this? It was early spring, because I think I did my first event in May. Anyways, I read through it quickly. She had some really great pointers in here in terms of pricing, which was really helpful in terms of where to go and to look for events to kind of go to, what kind of events you might want to consider. Pricing, those kinds of things, which I found very, very beneficial. She also was helpful in terms of the kind of equipment you might need, also things you might have to be concerned about and worry about with respect to when you're at the event. So things you need to consider bringing, obviously the typical ones like sunscreen, particularly in the summer, lots of water, those kinds of things. So she really is quite comprehensive in here about providing really great information. And after reading that book, she was so inspiring, this book, that I was like, yes, damn it, I'm going to do it. So I had started my tarot professional self over a year ago. It's been much longer now, probably a year and a half ago, and it's been a slow kind of burn of things. I started initially doing professional readings through an organization here in Toronto that was sort of brunches, those kinds of things, and I still do those. And that was sort of my start. But then when I read this book, I thought I was really inspired to sort of take that on. And I love this sort of the interaction piece. And I'm a very social person. So for me, it was not a challenge or a difficult thing to kind of translate. So I right away picked up some really interesting items firstly, I went online and I went on to Kijiji here in Toronto to see what kind of things were up at offer, and I think at the time I set myself up for probably around 4 or 5, and I was really strategic in terms of what I chose. I wanted initially events that were fairly close to me here, because I was kind of thinking I wanted to sort of facilitate maybe connecting with clients here in my immediate area. And then I went chose a couple that were a little bit further afield, but still within Toronto as well. And I've had various degrees of success. So I purchased a cute little 5x5, extremely small tent, which ended up being actually really great. Now, my daughter's not so happy about it because, of course, when she's come with me, there's not really a whole lot of room within there. So I think I might next year purchase a bigger one, a 10 by 10, so that when I do have events where my daughter's coming along, I just have a bigger space. But I liked the small little space because it gave this kind of really whimsical fortune teller feel to the whole experience, and it's striped. And I went on to eBay and purchased for very, very cheap, about I think 10, yeah, roughly 10 vintage saris that I used to drape. And so the whole look of it is just really fortune teller, very whimsical, very colorful, very bright, very engaging. I find that, you know, people see me right away. People are very drawn to the tent, and consequently to finding out what is this? What's going on there? So that was, I think, a really great purchase. I know that Jenna talks about here about she had some kind of Chinese umbrella. I don't know what that means. I went online to sort of look for what she was talking about, and couldn't really find that or anything described as that. And then I looked at other umbrella options and eventually decided on going with my tent situation. But the umbrella option, I liked that because I think it's probably a little bit more portable than what the tent, because it is a little bit heavier. So I think maybe in the future I might consider seeing if I can sort of find a tent for those situations that maybe need to be a little bit more portable. I loved reading at festivals. I love it. And this is the thing. I love everything about it. I love sort of the vibe. There's a really fun, energetic vibe. Sorry, it's my dog growling at me because she wants up on the couch. There's a real, so that's fun. My daughter enjoys coming with me. She gets to kind of go from the vendors to vendors. She enjoys that. So as quick as I'm making the money, she's spending it. But what I found was, unfortunately, I wasn't necessarily making money. So this was the thing. I had to be really strategic in those events that I purchased. I sort of gave myself a limit of 100. Now, some events sort of kind of came in under 100 with respect to my kind of entrance vending fee, and some of them were more. So far, I haven't lost any money. I've kind of, whatever I've spent with respect to the vending fee, I've made up in terms of what I've asked for in readings. Now, she kind of talked about doing these kind of quick and dirty readings, like 5 cards for $5. And she talks about sort of the various, being flexible with pricing, which I understand, which is really necessary, because if you have a far more expensive event, you're going to want to charge more. Now, what I decided was that this was also an because I'm starting this whole business out. This was also an opportunity for me to connect with people, to kind of build clientele, get sort of cards and flyers and different things out there, and that actually has worked out quite well. I've connected with some great clients, some clients who I know for sure I will see again. I've kind of made some advertising connections. As a result of that, I went on to this TV channel and did a talk. So it's been a really great experience from that standpoint, and I made some really, really great connections. So even though it was, I wasn't necessarily, now some events I made a lot of money, like this past weekend I made I probably cleared $100 for the event I was at this summer, above what I paid for the vending fee. And that was really great, but it was also one that went into the evening. And I've noticed that the events that I do the best at are the ones that go into the evening, because I get a younger crowd. I noticed that the afternoon crowd or the morning crowds Well, okay, mommies and strollers do not buy tarot readings. That's what I've learned. Mommies and strollers, they're happy. They've got their kids. They've landed their man. They're living the dream. So they have no reason to, want to seek a tarot reader. Now give them 10 years when, divorce is imminent and, they're like entering the dating pool again. That may change. But I found that what my clientele ended up being was I would get a lot of the younger people. I would get a good string of 20s and into 30s because, of course, you're getting people looking at relationships, looking at career things, aspects. And so that generation are the ones who are kind of in the midst of all that stuff, looking for answers or questions around those things. Then I would get people who would be older, sort of in their 40s and 50s. I would get I met some really great clients who were, at that end of their lives, where they're going through, changes and challenges and transition time. So I've noticed that people who are seeking or interested in tarot and interested in a reading oftentimes are people in transition. People in times in their life where change is happening, or maybe there might be some struggles. And those things often tend to be around relationships and career and family and different things like that. So that was really interesting. And I noticed when I had events that were in the evening, I always did much better in terms of finances because I would have back-to-back people, and because they would tend to be a younger crowd, because the mommy brigade with the strollers were all home putting the kids to bed. So that has really, because I hadn't done this before, it was kind of a learning experience. So I have a lot of now evidence and of experience and skills having done this now over the course of the summer to really know what I'm going to gear myself for next year. Now I've signed up for some events. I still have some going on here in September, a couple that I signed up for around the Christmas time. So I'm still in this, testing period. I haven't fully completed, that. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to turn up with these other events that I've signed up for. I have signed up for a pagan Pride Day event. So I'm thinking that might be really good because obviously pagans are very open to tarot and divination. And I'm thinking that I'll probably have a lot of good interest there. I'm also, I think, going to sign up for one of the psychic fairs. I've noticed a lot of the psychic fairs are really expensive, so I wasn't entirely sure I was going to do that, but I have an application for one that is a little bit more reasonable, which comes out to about maybe $200. Because it's over 2 days, it ends up being $400 in total, but $200, just slightly under $200 a day. And I think I'm going to do that one because I think that it may be worthwhile. And I haven't done one yet, and I thought it would be a great one to kind of test things out and see how things go with that. So yeah, so for me, I'm still in this kind of real testing phase now. I suppose sort of near the tail end of that, but I've gained already a lot of information, a lot of knowledge around what's working, what's great. Now, I live in Canada, so I've had to kind of adjust, even though some of the things that she said worked for her, I had to adjust for the location that I'm in. And sorry, that's a ding. Someone sent me a message. And so I initially started out with $15 readings. I've pumped it up to $20 because $20 is kind of an easy bill to pull out. Most people go to a bank machine and they have 20s on them. So I found that worked better. It was easier for me than dealing with 15s because then you're making change. So, but I'm thinking I might pump that amount up next year. I was starting out again. This is an experimental thing, and it just seemed like, and 20 seemed to work. People seemed, I had no, people weren't hesitant to do a reading for 20. And I do think a lot of people felt that it was a really good deal. I also over delivered in my readings. So, and that was deliberate on my part, because I am starting out. This is an advertising thing. I am trying to kind of gain connections and clientele and really get a good reputation going, that it was, from my standpoint, beneficial to over deliver in terms of what I'm offering, so that, people are kind of, have a good sense of that. And I did get some immediate referrals immediately, where people who went home called their friends, told them go over to the event and get a reading. So, so we'll see. I think how things go, but I just wanted to sort of connect with you about, one, this is a great book. If you're considering doing reading at festivals, I highly recommend you pick this up or download it on Kindle. You can get it on Amazon. She has some great information there, really breaks things down, offers a lot of good tips for what to do. And I recommend just do it. Now, I'm a very social person, so I made a point of, not being on my phone at all, but when I'm there, really kind of getting out, engaging. Oftentimes what I would do was I wouldn't necessarily even sit down. I would stand up, I would hold cards, I'd be out there so that I was chatting with people as they walked by. I was handing out cards to people. Another thing that was really a great technique, when I was doing I did some smaller pop-up markets, and I realized that the people in the markets who are running the other vendors were also my clients. So I would hand out mystery fortune cards to them as a kind of sort of fun thing for them to do. I would give them the opportunity. They would pull it, and theirs to keep. They loved that. I got several of the vendors who would come, listen, I'm going to come for a reading, and can you give me 5 minutes, give me some time to do that at the end or whatever. So my clients weren't just people coming to the event. It was also other vendors as well who are quite keen and interested too. And the other thing was, I tried to have a bunch of things. So I offered these mystery fortune cards as well. They were just $2 a card. People like that. Kids like those. I would hang them from my tent, which made it kind of sort of whimsical and fun as well. So I tried to kind of offer a few different things, and obviously within the mystery fortune card, it was not just the card, it was also my business card as well. So it provided an opportunity for advertising. So for me, it was also a big advertising piece to kind of get myself out there, get myself known a little bit as well. And I think that I'm going to continue to do this because I just find it such a great way to engage in the community, and I've made such great connections with people who I never would have probably have made business connections that I've made, several business connections. So it's definitely going to be something that I continue to do, and something that I really like doing as well. Because I just I enjoy being at the table with someone across from me. I find that I just really feed off that energy. I get the best readings that way, because I find that, it's that connection with people that you get. So anyways, that's my experience with reading at festivals and events. And now my next thing is I'm really promoting to try and get paid events, weddings and parties and stuff. So I've signed myself up for and put myself on a Toronto-based paid event site, and have really built it up. So that's sort of a next venture that I'm trying to see how that pans out. So I'll be back here to tell you more about that and see how that goes. I signed up for 6 months, so it'll be interesting to see how things kind of pan out with that, and I'll let you know what happens with that if I kind of manage to get more stuff going with that. So anyways, that's what's happening with me in events. And if you have any questions, just put them down below, and I'll try and answer them for you. Otherwise, please subscribe and like this video, and I'll be doing lots more of this stuff. This is sort of me giving you an opportunity to see how I progress with my business and how things are going. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, and I just let you know all about it. So anyways, hope you enjoy. See you later. Bye-bye.